When I was a kid, I was enthralled with Spencer Tracy's Jekyll and Hyde. Now, I'm 12 or 13 years old when this film came out. And for the next 20 years, I've got those pictures in my head of the magnificence of that classic film. I was enthralled with the tennis match, the good and the evil. The good and the evil. And of course, my trigger up here went funny and not. Funny and not. One day I decide, what if I could take the basis of that and do a kind of comedy musical? I met a man on a train going from New York to Chicago who came over and talked to both Dean and I about...
You know, when you, actually the two of you were, very, very nice.
That was in 1955. I couldn't get that voice out of my head.
Mr. Warshevsky, had you learned anything in your first class, and I am in reference to the elementary class, you might not be in such dire need of learning now. Your request is denied.
Lewis, as an actor, was fascinated by the mannerisms and the voice, and he was like really studying this guy as he's talking to him, and I guess he talked to him for hours.
He was modeling it after somebody he actually met that was the squarest nerd on the planet. It gave him just such a great comedic latitude. Everything from the voice inflections to the walk to the total nebbish not being able to do anything, but then at the same time he's a brilliant scientist.
Yes, oh yes. I knew that was the infinite perfect. 7 weeks and 13 experiments have gone by with little or no strides made. But today I'm certain my formula will work. So certain that I plan trying it on myself tonight.
I wrote 7 screenplays and threw them all away. I then got Bill to come aboard with me. Bill wrote number 8 and number 9 with me. I went to number 1. Bill and I went over it, and I shot the first script.
During this period in Lewis's career, he was known pretty much for the wild slapstick comedies that were extremely popular. Nutty Professor was a departure.
Basically, the thinking of the day was there were only 2 entities in Hollywood that were making movies for young audiences. That was Walt Disney and Jerry Lewis. So Nutty Professor wasn't really quite as much for the young kids as was Errand Boy or Ladies' Man or things like that. So it was breaking outside the formula, which scared a few people.
Paramount at first was a little skeptical as to releasing it, saying, you know, this might scare children. Well, Lewis said to them, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs might have scared children. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think Disney lost money. So he convinced the others that the project would be successful, and it was very successful. And interestingly enough, critics started to take notice of Lewis as being a very good actor.
Actually, these chemical formulas, which are processed and motivated by the electron group.
Actually, The Nutty Professor was a highly dramatic movie in the most literal sense of the word.
Well, no, you shouldn't be upset.
The dramatics of kelp are unseen.
There goes the tibia.
They aren't really in the foreground. You see kelp as this cute guy. Well, when you wrap up someone with that title, you don't look beyond it. I had to bring him to the screen with very little effort. You put a little more effort in that,